Welcome back to another episode of A Side Of. Doing our third part of Gravity Falls.
Fourth part, is it? Isn't it?
Is it our fourth part?
It might be.
Well, another part of Gravity Falls.
Another part, episodes 17 through 20, including the finale of Season 1.
But before we begin with that, we should introduce ourselves. I am Chris. With me is Justin.
Yes, it is me. Yeah, we're on our fourth.
We are on a fourth. Okay. And we're finally at the last stretch. You know, we're getting down to the last handful of episodes before the season ends.
Mm-hmm.
And we can finally get to what we think about the last episode and what we think of it as a finale.
Hell yeah.
But before that, we're going to do the episode Boyz Crazy. Would you like to say, Justin, the overview?
Justine? Yes, I will. When Mabel discovers that her favorite boy band is actually a bunch of imprisoned clones, she sets them free, only to decide on keeping them for herself. Meanwhile, Dipper is convinced that Robbie plans to brainwash Wendy with a secret message hidden inside one of his songs. Right,
because there's two separate kind of things happening at once. Dipper and his whole mind control music thing.
Anti-Robbie agenda.
Right, because he wants Wendy. I don't even know if he really hates Robbie as a person. I think he thinks he's a jerk. And then Mabel's doing this whole thing about being a girl, and I don't even know if it's a big deal as much as when we were kids, Justin.
Yeah. Oh, so
there was. I know. Well, mid to late 90s.
Okay.
Boy bands were nuts. Like you had.
So popular.
I think Backstreet Boys was one.
98 Degrees.
98 Degrees, NSYNC.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there are others.
Those are the only ones I know. I didn't listen to that genre.
Exactly.
I was too busy listening to, like, heavy metal.
I listened to a little bit of it because I had an older sister. And at the time, when I was in the mid to late 90s, I was probably 5 to 10 years old. So I listened. Right, and I just listened to whatever was on the radio. I didn't really have, like, I listened to whatever my parents listened to, or my sister, when she'd be like, oh, I want to listen to this station, then we'd listen to whatever.
Because you don't really develop a music taste until you're older, usually.
Yeah, I'd like to think so.
Yeah. Like a true music taste. Because you got to mature first before you can really start to analyze it and all that shit.
I think, for me personally, me and boy bands, I liked them as a real young kid because their music is very catchy.
Yeah.
And
upbeat.
These they're upbeat. The boy bands tend to have very nice voices. I mean, we can say that they have nice voices.
Yeah, and they harmonize really well.
Exactly. So when I was a kid, I was like, oh, I kind of like this because before this, it was Barney and Friends. And I think a boy band can harmonize better than a bunch of kids.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I actually used to watch Barney also when I was a kid, and those little kids are fucking shit. They suck.
They really do. But did you know, real quick side note, Selena Gomez and that other chick started their career, Demi Lovato, started their careers on Barney?
I don't know who Demi Lovato is, but awesome.
Oh, okay. Well, Selena Gomez was
on
there.
Friday chick?
Friday.
No, that's something black, like Jessica Black.
Oh, Rebecca Black.
Rebecca Black. Selena,
she's the one from the Disney Channel?
Yeah, she was the Wizards of Waverly Place.
I don't watch that show. Never have.
Oh.
Probably, likely never will. Unless there's a huge outcry of our fan base that wants us to do it, but
huge outcry, emphasis.
I don't see that happening.
she's I don't know what else she's been in, but
I think she's now, by the way. So start fapping.
The only two things I know about her is that she dated Justin Bieber, because when you have a lot of sisters, you tend to hear things like that. And then she was also in that well, it's not a James Franco movie, but it was about those 4 girls that go on a summer break or something, and James Franco's kind of a drug dealer.
James Franco's the awesome, gangster guy?
Yeah, she's in that movie as one of the 4 girls.
Okay, I didn't see that, but it did look interesting with good old Franco.
But anyway, going back, so for me, I liked them as a kid, but then I got older, and when I was a teenager, it was very important to try to be cool, try to be popular, quote unquote. And no guy would ever admit to liking boy bands because it was very clearly kind of a female.
It wasn't manly.
Exactly. And now that I'm older, I'm kind of back to being a kid again in that, yeah, it might not be manly, but I don't care. They had songs that I like. They harmonized well.
Yeah. Besides, who the fuck cares what anybody else thinks?
Well, as a kid, you care.
Oh, no, I know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Once you get older,
as an adult now.
Justin, you said you never listened to boy bands?
My brother did. He had CDs, so I know. I don't know the songs, but I think I probably did at the time. Like, baby, bye, 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 bye. Puppets and the weird dancing. But yeah, I never really listened to it. I was too busy listening to just other stuff.
Well, again, as one of the we've said this in other shows, but you're the eldest of your siblings.
Mm-hmm.
So as the oldest, you don't have and I'm sure your mom didn't listen to boy bands. So
nah. Actually, growing up, I didn't usually listen to music with my mother. Usually, whenever I was listening to music, it was with my stepfather, and he always listened to. I remember he had cassettes, a cassette player, not a CD player, but cassettes. Oh
yep.
Jesus! And he had all the hard rock and old heavy metal and country too. He's also really into country. And my brother really got into country. And, I mean, I like some of the old stuff, but I never really got into the genre as much as, heavy metal and stuff. And then I started listening to things like System of a Down and stuff like that, and it just kind of escalated from there.
So you pretty much kind of stayed away from the boy band.
Yeah. Actually, at the time, I always remember thinking it was, so gay and stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was just kind of like that. Although I do remember saying that I really liked... I remember I was in a car with my uncle and my brother and my uncle's friend, and I remember saying, because, I want to say a Britney Spears song came on the radio, and I was like, oh, I really like Britney Spears. And they tried to make fun of me for it, and I was like, no, it's because she's fucking hot.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that's the extent of my pop music repertoire.
You know, now that I think about it, this episode seems a little dated.
Yeah,
only
boy bands aren't huge anymore.
Exactly. I mean, granted, there are... in Japan or Korea. I don't want to seem racist, but it's one of those Asian countries.
It's one of those chinky-eyed places. I'm not racist, though.
They still do, groups like that, but they actually, a corporation owns these groups.
Mm-hmm.
And then they only have you for so long. Once you get to, 21 or something, they're like, you're too old.
Switch you out with someone else.
Exactly. And they're large groups. You'll see them all the time on YouTube. These Asian groups that are very well choreographed and they harmonize very well. There's actually even a genre that's coming up in the East, and it's like death metal meets pop music.
I heard a band like that, and everyone was super excited for it. And I listened to it, and I was like, okay. It didn't really do it for me.
Exactly. Metal's your repertoire, your genre, so...
Yeah, but even then, it's if a true metalhead talked to me, I wouldn't know what the fuck to say to them. I don't know all of the fucking crazy-ass bands, and I don't know all the guitarist names and things like that. I just like to listen to the certain bands that I like to listen to. And I say, exactly. Fuck you to everybody else.
So, I guess we should actually continue on with the episode. We haven't...
Well,
no, because we have...
Why can't we just sit here and talk about music? Fuck it. This episode is the music episode.
It's actually segueing into a main show, and watch Ryan or Eric pop up hey,
what's up? I heard you guys talking about music.
But
okay, let's move on.
In the episode, yeah, Mabel, Grenda, and
Candy.
I was thinking, yep. They're really excited because there's this boy band called Several Times, and they're coming into town. And
awesome.
And they're because one of the criticisms you'll hear about boy bands is that they're very generic, they're not original, because boy bands aren't known for playing their own music or playing their own instruments. Somebody comes in, writes the songs for them. Somebody comes in and makes the beat for them. You know, they don't do their own dancing. Well, they do their own dancing, but they don't come up with their own dance. Literally, they come on, they learn a dance, they learn to sing the song and harmonize, which I'm sure in and of itself is very hard to do. but that's about it. They're mostly just a face and a voice. You know, you're never gonna find like a pop singer that you're like, wow, those lyrics were crazy. Who wrote that? You know,
this is insightful.
That's actually one of the things that I think the pop genre gets a lot of criticism for, because they're known for being unoriginal and being just kind of generic, trying to get to everybody to like it and not trying
Copies of everybody.
Exactly.
Every new artist is just the same old artist in a new coat of paint.
Yeah. Which I don't think that's true.
Not necessarily.
Right. I mean, that's, again, a stereotype, but I think every genre of music has its stereotype. Like, I used to think country music was all about getting drunk, your trucks, and your, I don't know.
And your girl.
And your girl.
And heartache. That's a huge theme of old school country, at least. It's heartache.
Yeah.
Although I heard from my brother's dad, actually. Well, I guess he's technically my half-brother. It's not my dad, but I heard from my brother's dad. He played a song for me. He said, this is what country is now. Basically, country is, I guess, turned into hard rock.
That's what a friend of ours named Toad said, that it's very like southern rock. It's kind of gone away from what country used to be.
The twang and all that shit, or whatever you call it.
Exactly. So anyway, they go...
She thinks my tractor's sexy.
So they go to the concert, which they're really excited about, and then they go backstage and they find out that they're actually clones.
Yeah.
They're not people. They never actually explain
any of that. They just clone them. That's all we know.
So yeah, they're clones, and you know, it's funny because it's again kind of playing on the idea that all these boy bands were basically the same.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot making them different from each other. And
they're perfect. That's the other thing. Is they're made to be like perfect. They're exactly what any young girl would want.
Exactly. Now, did they say whether or not these were clones of somebody, or if they just genetically made a person?
They don't say anything about the clones besides that they're just clones, as far as I remember.
Okay, well, I imagine they're not the clone of somebody, because I think somebody would recognize, like, hey, that's like me, but several times up there.
Yeah, exactly, and that's a funny little joke with several times, because it's the same guy several times, because they're all clones.
Exactly.
That's
but it's
pretty
not,
clever.
But it's spelled kind of weird. It's like Sev apostrophe roll.
And then times.
But as anyone who knows proper, punctuation, the apostrophe's there to shorten words and combine them, but they just put it in the middle of the word several.
Yeah, but they took out the E in the middle. That was it. Short.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, I see it.
Very slightly.
And then, so she she liberates them from this hamster pen that they're living in.
And then kidnaps them.
And then takes them back to the mystery hack. And, she plans to let them out, kind of introduce them to the world, because all they do is go to do concerts, and then they go right back into the pen. So they're very, very naive to the outside world.
And they even get food pellets.
Exactly. But then Mabel's like, no, I want to set him free, but I love him too much. And there's this whole thing where she kind of goes a little crazy with it.
Well, right before that, the manager or whoever comes looking for them, and then she finds out that the manager got arrested or something, and then she keeps them.
Right, because the reason she was keeping them there is because she knew the manager would be looking for them.
Hiding them.
Yeah. So, you know what? And that's pretty much the story. Like, she eventually understands that she's got to give him up because, if you love him, set him free, that kind of whole thing.
They actually sing her a song that makes her so sad that she has to.
Yeah. And it's kind of a cool story because it does that whole... I've seen this before. I don't know about you, Justin, but I've seen this before where, someone will get, an animal or something, and they nurse it back to health, but they don't want to set it free because they love the animal so much. And then someone's like, well, if you love them, you got to set them free.
Yep. If you love them, you got to let them go.
Exactly.
Let it go. Let it? No, none of that.
Still haven't seen that movie. But...
that's probably for the better.
Well, we're not even getting into it. We'll get into that later. But,
on our time.
But so that's Mabel's whole like shtick. She kind of learns to her half of the episode. Meanwhile,
Bobby like plays a song for Wendy that kind of, because she's mad at him, he plays it and then she's like, "Oh, okay, that's."
Now to clarify, when he plays it, he's not playing it on an instrument. He has like a disc.
He actually pulls out like the Necronomicon, and it's a CD case.
Yeah,
that was great. that was really awesome. Nice little reference to Evil Dead, or wherever else the Necronomicon appears. I know it from the Evil Dead.
Pretty much same here. And she just forgives him, and Dipper's like, what's going on with Dad? And you get a cool flashback story from Grunkle Stan.
Yeah. He's in a 50s themed 70s diner. I thought that was great.
Yup. And Grunkle Stan's saying about how musicians just get girls, like, because they're musicians.
Yeah.
And how he had his girl that he liked, and she got taken away from him by the musician. And so they go on this.
It just like takes control of women's minds.
And then Dipper doing some investigating. He realizes that if you play the song backwards, there's a subliminal message.
Yeah.
That basically is mind control.
Mm-hmm.
Like to a lesser extent, it's not complete control. It's just being able to kind of influence.
You like me.
A little bit.
We're gonna be together. You like me. You're not mad at me. Just kind of things like that.
Exactly.
It's subliminal suggestion.
And then it's a race against time because he wants to. Wendy and Robbie are going up to like basically a makeout ridge.
Mm-hmm. And they're supposed to be going with two friends of Robbie's, I guess. And he's like, "Oh wow, they're not here.
Nobody showed up." Oh.
That whole oopsies. I totally didn't plan this from the start.
Whoopsie.
Whoopsies.
Whoopsie. Yeah. I don't have the throat for it.
You gotta suck more dick.
Apparently. But the ending to that is actually kind of surprising. They get there and they say, listen to this backwards, and Robbie, trying to defend himself, is like, look, I didn't even write that song. I just found it. And she's not mad about the mind control. She's mad that he lied about writing the song.
Yeah, so he still fucks it up.
Exactly. And
he's a joik.
And then, Dipper says, like, hey, want to come with me and Stan to go bowling? Yeah, and she's like, now? You guys are all the same, Just leave me alone. And so they all kind of lose, and it's the whole subliminal message thing. If you don't know, that's actually kind of been a thing for a while now. Back in, I think as far back as I know, in the 70s, they were claiming that certain albums, like the album that has Stairway to Heaven, if you play it backwards, which you can't do nowadays, really, because of digital. Yeah, you need like a vinyl record, and you could actually turn it backwards, and it'll say stuff to you.
The Lord of Darkness, Satan is your commander.
Shit like that.
Yes. If you want to see a funny version of it, watch Little Nicky.
Yeah. That one was pretty great.
Dude, Kansas is awesome. Was that the band?
I don't remember. I could Google it real quick,
but it was like a soft rock band, but they played it backwards, like "I am your Lord in darkness" or something, and then the two like metalheads were like, "Dude, Kansas is awesome," because that's the name of the band, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But Justin, what did you think of this episode?
I rated it right here. I have it written down about an 8 to 9 out of 10. It's pretty good. It's funny. Some of my notes here are like the boys are hilarious. I love the talking, all the little phrases they say. Like, it's so funny to me. Candy has a line where she says, "We'll cut you." I don't remember the context, but she's like, "We'll cut you." I thought that was great. Let's see. The clones are fucking retarded. Like, they're idiotic, which was funny. They're eating a stapler. He's like, "Yo, dog, are you gonna share that?" It was Chicago. Chicago, does anybody really know what time it is? That's the song.
Yeah, which Chicago's a really light rock band.
Yeah.
But it's funny when he says the thing about the stapler, is as he's choking on the stapler.
Yeah, he's like, "Yo, Yo, dog, are you gonna share that? He's like on the ground writhing too.
I think my favorite line from them is, yo, fool, yo, who's this yellow fool glaring at me or something?
Yeah.
I'm gonna stare that fool back.
His eyes just start burning.
Like,
in reference to the sun.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's talking about the sun, yeah.
I don't know what that thing is, but all I know is I want to hug it, I want to kiss it. And they get to the forest, and he goes and starts making out with the tree.
Which, ow, man, splinters.
Maybe.
I think it was a decent episode. It did a lot with kind of the music industry.
And the songs were great. Like, the songs they were singing, if you listen to the lyrics, they're pretty funny.
One of the trivia notes, just jumping ahead a little bit, one of the trivia notes is that they actually got Lance Bass, who I believe was in NSYNC.
Yeah.
A popular boy band when we were younger.
Yeah, when we were kids.
Was one of the voices, so they actually had a little bit of credibility.
Mm-hmm. And the reason they got Lance Bass was because Alex Hirsch, the writer or creator of the show or whatever, his sister was obsessed with Lance Bass. So he's just like, yeah, you could meet him. It was a dream come true. So.
And you know what's funny? Boy bands a little bit have been coming kind of back into the spotlight. Like
I think it's less boy bands and more like there's usually like a figurehead with some backup people. You know what I mean? Like Justin Bieber, and then he's got some people that dance behind him or whatever. But I think it's usually more like a solo artist these days. Although I don't listen to pop music. Maybe I'm totally wrong.
Well, no, what I was getting at was not... They're showing back up not in music, but in other things. Like Lance Bass was actually not a major character.
The people from the old boy bands.
Yeah, they're coming back a little bit because Lance Bass showed up in Tropic Thunder.
Robot Chicken.
Oh, that wasn't Lance Bass.
Oh, that was the fat one?
That's Joey Fatone.
What's he from?
Backstreet Boys or NSYNC, one of them.
I don't think.
The only guy from 98 Degrees that I know is Nick something or other, and the only reason I know him is because my sister really liked that show because he married Jessica Simpson.
Oh, okay.
And they had a show together.
Oh, Nick Lachey. Was that the name?
Nick Lachey, yeah, I think.
All I remember is her making a fool of herself saying, "Tuna, it's the chicken of the sea." Some shit like
that. How can tuna... No, yeah, how can it be the chicken of the sea if it's tuna?
Yeah.
And, yeah, that was... If you don't know what we're talking about, you're too young for this show.
Yeah, you're too young.
But Lance Bass came back, and then, out of nowhere, at the end of... what's that James Franco movie with Jonah Hill and... It's the Apocalypse.
Oh, this is the end? Is that...
This is the end. When they go to heaven, the Backstreet Boys do a song.
Yeah.
And it was like, whoa, all right.
Oh, okay. Not to mention that JT, Justin Timberlake, is huge.
Yeah, but he never, he's the only...
He just kind of still was awesome.
Yeah, he's the only one in that time period from the boy bands that really continued to be huge.
Yeah.
The rest kind of petered out. I mean, I've seen, like I said, the other members of those bands go on and usually do shows. Yeah.
But not like JT.
Not JT is still...
He really is cool. I like pretty much everything he's in. As far as his acting chops go. He's just funny. I don't know. I like him.
So, moving on to, I think we're good to go to trivia.
Trivia. Okay, as I say, no, we're not ready to go to the next episode. But the cryptogram, I'll say that real quick. Okay. The cryptogram for this episode says, "Happy now, Ariel," which is a reference to his sister, Ariel Hirsch. So,
okay.
Nice little thing. Because she loved him. She was obsessed with him. And so he got Lance Bass. So it's just like, happy now?
All right. One of the maybe slightly interesting trivia is that one of the titles they would have gone with for this episode was Only the Clonely.
Yeah. I feel like the reason they didn't was because it reveals too much about the clone reveal. Instead of Boyz Crazy. Boyz Crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
The cover of Robbie's CD case resembles the cover of the book Necronomicon Ex Mortis from the movie The Evil Dead. Okay. Yep. It is from The Evil Dead.
Here's one. The members of several times are the first Gravity Falls characters known to have irises. However, Schmipper and Schmabel were shown to have colored eyes in The Legend of the Gobblewonker.
Schmipper and Schmabel. I don't remember those.
The Legend of the Gobblewonker.
That's the first episode.
Yeah.
Schmipper and Schmabel. I do not remember that at all. Oh, well,
Yeah.
we'll have to look back to that at some point.
Pretty much.
Before we move on, because I think we're pretty good with this episode.
Yeah.
What did you think of the episode?
As a whole, it was okay. It's Gravity Falls, so it's Gravity Falls doing Gravity Falls. They presented ideas in a kind of a new and fresh way.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's the boy band episode and cloning.
Exactly.
I love that they do that shit.
Dude, I saw this thing where they were talking about how whatever the current generation is, we're obsessed with things that were 20 years before us. So, like when he was saying, we were in a 50s themed 70s bar, is because in the 70s they were obsessed with the 50s.
Yeah.
And for us, 20 years ago was
the 90s.
What, the 90s?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think maybe the boy bands are starting to come back, and why earlier, like towards the end of the 2000s, 8, 9, and 7, 8, 9, Transformers came back, and all those 80s kinds of things
people
really
liked. And
exactly.
Like laughing, I was going to call them laughing my ass off. LMFAO or whatever.
Yeah, they're kind of very
80s in their style and all that. Yeah, exactly.
So it's coming back, and so now the 90s should be coming back, and that's why we've got kind of the boy bands. Because, what are the 90s known for? Boy bands and...
ska. They had the summer of ska.
I know! Ska needs to come back.
I know. Ska's pretty great. I like it.
But as a whole, it's a good episode.
Yeah. What would you rate it? Because remember I said about an 8 or a 9 out of 10?
If 1 was like the absolute worst episode, don't ever watch it.
Oh, hold on, real quick. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned this in like a previous episode, but a little disclaimer for the audience about my rating system on this. I'm not rating it like 8 out of 9 or 8 to 9 out of 10 for every media function or not function, but every media out there. I mean within the context of the show. When I say 8 or 9 out of 10, I mean it's really good for Gravity Falls. I'm not saying it's a 10 out of 10 and it's up there with such great entertainment like Pulp Fiction or et cetera, et cetera. I mean within the context of the show.
Right.
So now having said that, you.
Okay. So if 1 is like just crap, don't watch it, and 10 is you need to see this, it's worth watching. I give it like a 7.
Okay.
It's definitely not a waste of time. You go in, you're probably going to, especially the banter between the several times, you're probably going to find some stuff in there. Especially if you're a 90s kid, you will probably find this pretty funny if you ever saw boy bands or had any kind of opinion on boy bands. You're probably going to like it.
Nice little bit of pseudo-nostalgia.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we're good to move on. Unless you got something to say. Final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I'm looking at my notes here, and I'm thinking about it. I don't think I have anything really else to say. We kind of covered it all. Actually, we spent quite a bit of time on this episode.
Yes, surprisingly.
Why surprisingly? What, did you think we weren't? It's a good episode. It's funny. Compared
to Land Before Swine, which is the one we're going about to do, which is, you've been saying, but in other episodes, that if it's not your favorite, it's probably your second favorite.
Yeah, I do quite enjoy this.
And then we have the season finale 2-parter, and that's got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we should move on.
So I was thinking that was going to be the least to talk about episode.
Well, if that's the case, then this is going to be a long episode.
Yep.
So let's move on to episode 18.
The Land Before Swine, which, if you don't know, that's a play on words of The Land Before Time, which is a phenomenal movie if you have not seen it.
For kids. If you're an adult, it's probably going to be less phenomenal, but when we saw it as kids, it was so good and touching and made you cry. And
oh, dude, what's that guy's name? Bluth. It's something Bluth. Don Bluth. He's a huge guy back in the day. He wrote Land Before Time. I think he did Land Before Time. He did The Secret of Nim.
Okay, I remember that.
Rockadoodle, which is really weird.
I never saw that movie, actually. But I've heard raving reviews from you guys.
From Rockadoodle?
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
What? Well, it's
all right.
It's about like a rooster, and he's the king or some shit.
He's Rooster Elvis.
I can't follow it.
But dude, Land Before Time, I think even as an adult, it might just be the nostalgia that I have for it, but it's such a great movie because it's so powerful.
Yeah. I agree.
But
Great.
but we'll talk about that some other time.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get
maybe we'll do Land Before Time on a different sidecast sometime.
Ooh,
that is one from that one hits close to hits close to home. So
watch that and then watch the sequel and just say how bad it is.
hey, I actually like the sequels, buddy.
Ooh.
Although I didn't see the 15 sequels.
Dude, I saw up to the 10th movie, and I'm like, why am I still watching this?
You're sitting there all day. Why am I still watching?
I'm older now. This isn't even for me anymore. But
it's horribly contrived.
So the overview, Justin.
The overview. Oh, this one's really short. When a prehistoric beast snatches Mabel's beloved pig Waddles, the Pines family must journey to a land trapped in time to rescue him. So not only is it the title is a play on Land Before Time with Swine because of Waddles. This is the Journey to the Center of the Earth type episode, where there's the perfectly preserved prehistoric area that they get to go to and kind of have shenanigans in.
Shenanigans. So the kind of, without going into a grand amount of detail, which I'm sure we will anyway, the kind of focus of this episode is Grunkle Stan doesn't really like Waddles. Yeah. Not that he hates him, he just kind of is an annoyance.
Yeah.
He doesn't really care.
He's like, whatever.
But as we've talked about before, Mabel absolutely loves Waddles.
Yeah, actually, one of my notes here is Waddles is good for Mabel.
Why do you think he's good for Mabel?
Because she can kind of use him as a sort of medium to get her weird out with herself, if that makes sense. She talks through his mouth at times, and it's like a friend that she can share herself with on a different level than with Candy and Grenda, or even Dipper. This is her best buddy. It's like an extension of her, even though Waddles doesn't really do anything himself. For her, she uses him as a way to I don't even know.
I'm gonna say now that you talk about Waddles, they really give Mabel a lot of stuff. She's got kind of an unfair advantage compared to Dipper. She's got two friends, a pet, and Wendy. So an older compared to Mabel girl that she can go to with girl problems. Who does Dipper have? He's got Grunkle Stan, who's kind of a crotchety old man. Mm-hmm. He's got Zeus, who's probably maturity-wise about the same, but he is an adult.
He's a man-child.
Exactly. Dipper really doesn't have anybody his own age. He doesn't have a pet. He just kind of is.
Yeah, he just kind of deals with it.
But so yeah, you want to? I guess long story short. Grunkle Stan is supposed to watch Waddles, and he kind of ties him up into the front of the shack.
Yeah, outside.
And then this pterodactyl comes over and just jacks him, and he's like, oh, yeah. And then he tells Mabel, they go on a rescue mission to try to, save him. And they find that there's all these dinosaurs that are just
there's a mine shaft, but there's a building that goes down into a mine shaft, and then in the
I think it's a church or something.
That's what I was thinking, but it's kind of run down.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what the building was, but they go down into a mine shaft, and they find all these dinosaurs preserved in tree sap or some shit like that, and one of them is melted, and that's the pterodactyl.
I totally forgot. Kind of a side thing that's also going on is that Dipper is kind of getting annoyed with Zeus because of Zeus's I don't know how else to say it. He's kind of dumb.
He's a good friend, but he's kind of a bumbling idiot. He means well, but he messes shit up sometimes.
And Dipper's just getting tired of it because he's constantly messing things up, and to the point where he didn't even want Zeus to come with them on this because he thought he was going to mess up somehow.
Yeah.
And,
This episode's kind of focused, besides going after Waddles, is everyone's kind of mad at each other, and they're fighting with each other, and it's kind of moving past the problems. Everyone's going to have problems with pretty much anybody else, but when you're with your friends, you move past those problems, and so it's kind of that's kind of the message of the episode.
Exactly, and the only real threat in this episode is the pterodactyl. Granted, the pterodactyl's baby is also somewhat of a threat, but
it eats
it's
McGucket twice.
What, the baby?
Yeah.
No, the baby eats McGucket.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Holy crap,
yeah,
he's dead."
yeah.
And then he's like, "No, I'm fine," and then eats him again or something.
Yeah. So the way they get over this kind of arc is that Grunkle Stan actually goes toe-to-toe with the pterodactyl.
Yeah, because he's kind of a beast.
Which actually is funny.
It.
The funny thing is, earlier when Mabel first realizes that Waddle's gone, he's like, "Yeah, I went and fought the pterodactyl as best I could." Exactly, but
he fought dirty. He poked me in the eyes. Some shit.
And then later, he actually fights him in kind of a cool way, because he's like, he finds Waddles. He gets separated from the group. He finds Waddles and protects him because Waddles is wearing like a baby backpack.
Yeah, there's a commercial at the beginning of the episode about like a baby walker backpack thing. And it's like, you can use it for your pigs. This thing's made for pigs. If you've got a pig, you need to get this. Something like that. She's just like, okay. So she gets it.
So after he proves himself, Mabel kind of forgives him. And then for Dipper and Seuss, Seuss, they're trying to get away from the pterodactyl, and they're like, if you just move at an angle, because of the way their eyes are set, they can't see you if you're right in the middle of their face.
Right in front of them.
So then he's like, oh, Seuss is not a complete bumbling idiot. He actually has a purpose.
Yeah. Oh, and throughout the thing, he keeps calling them pterodactyls. He's like, the P is silent. Actually, no one was alive then, so no one knows how it's pronounced. So I thought that was funny.
It's so dumb.
It is. So some of my notes here. Waddles is good for Mabel. Seuss is a great friend because he always does things for Dipper, and he's just a good friend,
Yeah.
But he means well, but he's a bumbling idiot. And so right here I have, what do you do with a bumbling idiot? How would you handle if one of your friends meant well, he had good intentions, but he kept fucking everything up for whatever reason somehow? What would you do with that kind of person?
I guess I would see, that's a tough one. I mean, if he means well, he wants to help you out, but he just keeps messing up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wouldn't stop being friends with him because he's
but
he's not a dick.
Would you tell him how would you bring it to his attention? Would you talk to him about it?
I get let's say he's super clumsy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then I'd be like, dude, you're kind of clumsy. You kind of wreck some stuff. Can you be a little bit more careful?
Yeah.
Or something like that. I probably wouldn't be a dick about it. That's kind of his problem. He waited for so long to say anything. And then again, he doesn't say anything to him until even later, after the point where he's already mad at him.
Yeah, and so since he's all riled up, that's when he starts yelling at him or whatever.
Exactly. It's better to get it out first.
Exactly. So, what other things do I have? Seuss almost dies. I don't remember how, but he almost dies. There's so much pointless fighting. There's a lot of funny jokes. I didn't write down really any of the jokes, but I just remember this. I just loved the episode. I don't know. And then Stan's a beast because he fights off.
I was actually going to ask you that. Why is this your second favorite episode?
I don't know. Maybe I just like the themes, the dinosaurs and all that, and I really don't know. I just enjoyed it. Something about it I enjoyed, and I thought there were some really funny jokes.
Do you remember how they tracked the pterodactyl?
I remember they took pictures of it, and then it flew off, but I don't remember exactly how they tracked it.
Waddles was wearing a shirt or some crap, I think, and then... No, you know what? They followed a trail somehow.
Yeah, I remember them following a trail, but I don't remember why. The last time we watched these episodes was, a few weeks ago, because there have just been stuff happening. My computer died, so I had to set up my other one, and I can't. That one, the internet won't work, so I have to plug it into a different room and all that. And there's just problems like that. And then, this is happening, that happening. So it's been a while since we watched these, which kind of sucks. But I did go back and watch the finale.
Well, remember that. Well, I was gonna say remember Dipper and Seuss made a trap because there was this beast that was in the woods, and so they made this trap to try to find him, and it didn't work. But they had all this rope everywhere.
Okay.
And it got on him, and the rope was so long that they could actually follow it.
Oh.
And that's how they tracked
it. Yeah, I remember they had the rope in the mine, and then Seuss accidentally rolled it all up, and they're like, which way was it again? Like,
yep.
Oh, fuck! God damn it, Seuss!
But for me, this episode was just kind of, again, basically like the last one. It has its good moments. It was cool to see dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
But I said it before and I'll say it again. I think the second season is just better as a whole.
I have not seen that one yet, so we'll get there.
You saw one episode?
Yeah, one episode on TV. I wasn't really paying attention.
Okay.
I will say this, though. There was one thing about this episode that really kind of ticked me off. I understand why they did it this way.
Okay.
But it annoyed me. There's a part where it's when Stan is riding the pterodactyl, and he says, "From Hex heart I stab at thee," which is a great line, I stab at thee! But he said Hex heart. And I understand they did that because they don't want to say hell on, a kids show on Disney Channel and all that. But he's an old man who doesn't care about anybody. He's not going to say heck. He'll say hell,
So you would have been happy if they just got rid of that altogether and maybe him say something else?
No, I wanted him to say, "From hell's heart I stab at thee." Because I don't see why hell is like a bad word they can't say on TV.
Because it's a kid's show and it's a Y7, I think.
Either way.
It's Disney.
I know. I know why they did it. I'm just saying it's stupid. It's stupid.
Oh, okay. I didn't even notice, to be honest with you. I was too busy watching him do cool stuff fighting a pterodactyl.
"From Hex heart I stab at thee."
Do you want to say what the cryptogram was?
The cryptogram was 9/20/23/15/18/11/19/6/15/18 16/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9/9 which once decoded, it reads, "It works for pigs," in reference to the like baby holder.
Okay. Oh, you know what? I totally forgot the very beginning of this episode. What is the two sheriffs' names? Bubs and Durland. We're sitting there, and the pterodactyl takes the top of Blubs takes the top of their car off, and he's like, "Should we follow it? We could, or we could, test out our new convertible," and then they drive off.
Yeah.
That was a good freaking scene.
This whole episode, I just enjoyed it. That's really all I can say. I just kind of enjoyed it. I don't know. So fucking sue me.
This is the fourth time Wendy hasn't appeared.
Oh, okay. Like in a row, or overall?
I guess overall. I think she was in the last
trivia.
episode. Yeah, she was in the last episode, so it has to be overall.
Oh, apparently there's a like a tattoo on Stan's back that if you use what does it say right here? During Stan's fantasy sequence, we see his back turned and his bare back, where his tattoo should be is instead OLHV, which has a remarkably similar shape to his actual tattoo. Once decoded using the Caesar cipher, it says lies. And I guess because there's a picture here, it was just her scrolling. It's just trolling the audience.
Nice.
That's pretty awesome. Trivia, anything?
I'm looking at it, and there's nothing really that I see.
It's nothing too interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, this is one that I saw. After they escape the mine, they get on a geyser and it shoots them all up in the air. Stan actually lands in a coffin. So it's a nice little thing. I mean, it's not like funny or anything, but it's a nice little touch,
Oh, okay.
So that's pretty cool. What about rating it? How would you rate it? Because I rate it like an 8 or 9 out of 10. I thought it was pretty good in the context of the show. For the first season, it's definitely one of the best.
Yeah. Like I said, a 7 probably. Again, it's got moments that I'm sure you'll find funny, and
I did.
But other than that, I don't know. I guess the lesson is, your friends can mess up, but you kind of have to accept that. And
yeah.
I don't really know what the lesson is for Grunkle Stan and Mabel. Maybe it's just
don't be a dick to pigs.
Don't be a dick to pigs.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah, I guess we can move on then, really, if there's...
We really didn't end up talking about that one that much, but I think it's mostly because there was no... The reason we talked about the last one so much is because we got into, like, boy bands and things like that. This one, I mean, unless we talk about Journey to the Center of the Earth, which I've never read or, like, seen or anything.
Neither have I.
And There's really not a whole lot besides it just being the episode.
You know what was kind of cool is they did have a T-Rex in this episode, but he was mostly...
Yeah, his arm
frozen.
was exposed.
And it started moving, and I was like, dude, if that T-Rex gets out...
We're
but it never.
fucked.
But they could always come back to it in a later episode.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and one more last note I have written here. Where is it? the cornicorn. That's one of the reasons why Stan doesn't like Waddles, is he unveiled his cornicorn, and it was all chewed up.
Oh, so he was already pissed at the pig prior.
Yeah. It's not a unicorn, it's a cornicorn. The fuck? What are you on, old man?
It's a cornicorn.
So I think we're good to move on to episode 19, which is part 1 of the finale.
Real quick, right before that, I think it's a little funny. Right before we started this episode, I said, I don't think we're going to have a lot to talk about with the boy bands, but we're going to have a lot to talk about with the Lamb Before Swine.
It was opposite.
But anyway,
that's how it happens sometimes.
Isn't it? That's the second time I've called it, but backwards.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've been wrong about that, but the first episode is called Dreamscapers. No, Dreamscaperers.
Dreamscaperers.
Yeah.
This one's pretty good. So, official overview, another really short one. Dipper, Mabel, and Seuss must travel through Grunkle Stan's mind to defeat a tricky dream demon called Bill Cipher, summoned by Lil Gideon.
So I guess a good place to start with this one is, what do you think of Bill Cipher?
I think he's fucking awesome. He's so cool and odd and, mysterious, and I just want to know more about him.
Pretty much.
And he's kind of fucked up. I don't know if you remember, the, first thing he does is oh yeah, look at my power. And then he just, sucks all the fucking teeth out of a deer. He's like, yeah, I'm holding a bunch of teeth. And then he just, puts them back in its mouth.
And then it runs away yep, done.
Yeah, that was the stuff of nightmares.
You know what's funny? We were talking about, in a show we watched recently, where you can't, Nickelodeon and Disney shows, whenever somebody gets, hurt, if they're in, an airplane or in, a thing, and it gets damaged, they have to show that the pilot made it out.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're thinking, oh, they died in that. They could have died in there. Nah, they made it out safe. But in this one, they had to return the teeth, because otherwise there's a
fuck.
There's a toothless deer running around.
It's gonna die because it can't eat.
Pretty much.
It's so sad. Who cares? It's a fucking deer, and it's animated.
Dude, Bill Cipher is really cool, though. What do you think of his voice?
I like it.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because I don't feel like his character deserves, a really deep voice or anything like that. I think it fits it well, because he's kind of a trickster, kind of,
yeah.
He feels really trickster-ish.
It's kind of he's not so much, he is evil.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very clear that he is, but it's not that he wants to maybe destroy everybody. He just likes to kind of mess with people.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the way they build him up is whatever you do not summon Bill Cipher. So they really build him up he's going to be this big threat.
Yeah.
And they still do it in the second season. They keep building him up he's going to be this massive dude.
I think I saw, because I think my brother was watching an episode, but in season 2, I think there's a part where he takes over Dipper's body.
Yeah.
So he's got power. He seriously is fucking scary if you really think about it. You know what I mean?
Pretty much. Yeah, but when he takes over the body, it's more of a Faustian pact.
Okay.
So that's how that kind of works itself out. But what do you think of his design?
I like the way he looks.
The triangle with the top hat and bow tie and the one eye.
Mm-hmm.
You think that has anything to do with, on the dollar bill, there's the triangle with the one eye?
Oh, yeah, probably, because I feel like this show is all about just conspiracy theories, and so that kind of goes with the whole Illuminati, all-seeing eye kind of shit.
Yep. Dude, when they introduce him, he comes up as a triangle, and in the triangle, there's all this, stuff happening in it, and then you just see this eye pop out, and then he just is, and you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, Bill Cipher. Calm down. Bill Cipher.
Plus, I like that name, Bill Cipher, because it's just kind of
Bill.
a little catchy. I don't care about the Bill part, but the Cipher part. It's just kind of cool.
So essentially what happens in this episode is Gideon wants to take over the Mystery Shack.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think at this point, it is, at least at the beginning, it's not explained why.
No, it's not. He's just trying to get the deed, but he can't crack the case.
He can't crack
the safe.
The safe to get it. So he summons Bill Cipher, and he says, I'll make you a deal. Go steal from Stan Pines, which there's a really cool scene, if you notice, Justin, because he's like, Bill Cipher's thinking, and he's like, Stan Pines, and then his body is like shifting through images, and it very quickly shows like Stan's tattoo.
Oh.
And then he's like, oh yeah, I'll help you.
Damn, I don't remember that.
Oh, dude, it kind of hints that he knows Stan Pines, or at least he knows of him from the tattoo.
Yeah, there's some kind of history. Some
Yes.
way, shape, or form. My first note, actually, is my first two notes is right before the actual summoning. Lil Gideon is a weirdo, but enjoyable. Like, he's so strange and odd, but he's funny. So I like him. And then it sucks you in with the Bill Cipher tease, because if I remember, this one, I watched the very last episode just recently, but this one is one of the ones I hadn't seen recently. But if I remember correctly, Gideon is like looking at the book before he goes to summon him, and it's kind of like a little tease, like, what the fuck? Who's Bill Cipher? What is this shit? It's that dude from the picture in the intro at the very end. Like, what's going on? So it really starts to like just suck you in.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's true. You actually still see Bill Cipher in every episode in the intro.
Yep.
And you actually get to see him in every episode. He like shows up somehow.
Really?
Remember in Fight Fighters, I told you see Bill Cipher in
the arcade?
Yeah.
Okay, that's in every episode?
I'm pretty sure.
Damn.
You know what? I'm gonna look.
I did not know that. It's those things that make me really like this show. They have all these little details everywhere. It's fucking cool. If you're perceptive and you can figure out the mystery of it, it's very interactive.
Right. Are you on the wiki?
Yeah, I'm on the wiki right now.
Okay, go scroll down to the trivia. There's actually a picture where Bill Cipher's thinking about Stan's tattoo.
Stan's tattoo revealed, yeah.
Exactly.
Damn.
So he's like, wait, what? So yeah, something's going on with that.
Yeah, I am so much more fucking interested now.
And so what happens is he says, hey, Bill, Bill Cipher, can you go into Stan's mind and take the memory? And he does, and Dipper, Seuss, and Mabel go into Stan's mind to try to save him from Bill Cipher. Well, I guess not really save him from Bill Cipher, since they have no idea what to do with Bill Cipher. It's more just to not let him get the
deed. Well, not even the deed.
The combination.
Yeah, he's going in there because Stan says the only way anyone's going to get this combination is through my head or some shit like that. I'm the only one who knows it.
Exactly.
So Bill Cipher's going in to get the combination for Gideon so he can open it and get the deed.
Exactly. Now, what... So they go on this adventure going through Stan's mind, and what did you think of the whole Stan's mind thing?
I thought it was great. I liked that it was in black and white, because it's kind of like, well, he's older now, so it's kind of cool. He's an old man, so it's like his imagination's not necessarily as vivid, so it's not in color, or at least that's the way I kind of got the feel of it. It's black and white, because he's just kind of old, and he's maybe losing it a little bit or something, you know?
Okay,
plus,
so
he's kind of dark when you think about it.
Yeah, he's kind of a dick. I like his fears. It was like a box, and it was just like stuff trying to get out, and
it's the Mystery Shack, and all the different doors lead to like memories and shit.
Exactly.
Which, by the way, I guess over down here on the cryptograms, when they're in the Mindscape, the entrance for the Mystery Shack is PBVWHUBVKDFN. And it's just a cipher. Well, once you decode it, it just says Mystery Shack. But it's kind of cool that there's a code there, you know? And in front of the Mindscape version on the Mystery Shack of the Pit-Cola machine, it has SLWW, which is Caesar cipher for Pit. So it's kind of cool that there's all these little... The top of the Dreamscape Shack sign is broken off. Once decoded, it says Mist. So it's just kind of like... There's all these little codes everywhere also. Which is kind of fucking cool.
Yeah. What did you think of... So one of the things that happens pretty early on is they realize that since they're in Stan's mind, the laws of physics and reality don't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
You can essentially do whatever you want. Well, Bill can. Bill can do whatever he wants. And so they, like, blow... Dude, it was kind of dark, but he blows a hole through Dipper's body.
Yeah.
But they immediately, take away from the darkness by having Mabel, like, make a joke like, whoop, can see right through you.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's Disney being Disney, showing you dark-esque stuff.
Yeah, but dialing it back a little bit.
Dialing it back quite a lot. But what did you think of the characters she created? Well, she didn't create them. She took them from a show.
Made them real.
Yeah.
Kraz and Zyler.
Kraz and Zyler.
They were great. They made me laugh a lot.
Arm thrown.
It's so rad. Yeah, arm thrown.
Dude, we're talking. I love talking.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah. So they're just so excited about everything.
About everything.
It just makes me lol so hard.
And then, so they go in, and they have to face Bill Cipher. Side note, I can't believe I forgot this. Dipper is kind of mad at Grunkle Stan because he feels like he picks on him. He picks on him a lot.
Yeah. Dipper's a little wimpy.
Right, and while he's in there, he looks at this memory, and in it, Stan is talking to Seuss and says, "You know what? I don't even like the kid.
Mm-hmm.
He's a wimp.
Yeah, he's a
like
wimp and stuff. He's just kind of being mean."
Yeah, and then
Dipper's like, "What a fucking dick!" and just kind of leaves. But then a little bit later, you find out that the rest of the memory, as they tend to do in shows and media and whatnot, it's the whole cliche. If you had just listened further, I was saying this in a way that I'm not actually mean. I was, I'm actually a good person. And in this case, it's, he's a wimp and all that. But I'm kind of hard on him because I want to toughen him up. This is what my dad did with me, because he made me box and I was such a wimp. But then when I got older and in life, I really stood up for myself and things like that. And so, which you actually get to see Stan's father, and he's pretty cool.
You get to see Stan's father.
Yeah. If you scroll down, there's actually a picture. He's got like a hat and a fucking suit and mustache and all that. He looks kind of like a Blues Brother, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Which is awesome.
He's really cool looking, yeah. Oh, okay, so when they do the final battle, it's actually kind of funny because Dipper's like, you can do whatever you want because Stan...
You can imagine it.
Dreamscan or I don't know what to call him, but the Stan from the memory tells him that, you can do whatever you want because you're in the mind.
Basically.
And Dipper flies. Mabel gets kitten hands.
Yeah, she turns her hands into kittens.
Kitten heads.
Yeah, kitten heads.
Kitten heads that are the size of Mabel's head.
And I'm pretty sure they shoot like lasers or some shit like that.
Yeah, rainbow lasers out of the... Well, you know what? Because Bill Cipher messed with them because I don't know what he does to Dipper, but to Mabel, he makes her ugly.
Yeah, she's like, my cuteness.
And then for Seuss, I guess he's afraid of a British bulldog.
A British bulldog, yeah, from his dreams.
Yeah. That needs to be explained.
Oh, that's awesome.
But, yeah. And then they fight him and they win. And
of course.
Dipper gets a little bit closer with Grunkle Stan, but in the end, it doesn't matter because while they were doing this whole thing, Gideon got a hold of the deed because they were too busy battling.
He just blew the wall up or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And then the episode ends in a big, kind of cliffhanger, oh shit, we lost the fucking Mystery Shack.
Exactly.
So that's basically what happened in the episode. You want to address your notes?
I think it was a very interesting... Again, I like the idea... They went into people's minds, which has been done before, but it did it in a very unique way.
Yeah.
And as a build-up for this... As a build-up, it's kind of weird because why introduce Bill Cipher if he's not going to be the main villain? Because he's clearly going to be at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Or he's going to play a major part. But in this, he shows up, and all he ends up really doing is being a distraction.
Yeah. And then he's not even in the next one.
No. He's not even in the finale.
Yeah. Which is pretty cray-cray. But what I got here, the summoning of Bill Cipher is epic as fuck. So,
It really is. It
I
really is.
remember-
He, like, talks backwards.
yeah, well, yeah, Gideon's talking backwards, and I guess when he's talking backwards, what he's saying is backwards message, backwards message, backwards message, just over and over. But then, you know, he, like, pops up, and it's all crazy and shit, and I don't know, it's just kind of cool. The spell used to summon Bill is Triangulum Entangulum, Veniforus Dominus Ventium, Veniforus Venetasarium, or Venetasarium, which roughly translated in Latin is, Triangle, I invoke you. I come to the defensive barrier of the mind. I will see the barrier destroyed. Which is really
Wow.
epic,
Yes.
if you ask me.
Do you want to do the cryptogram?
Yeah, hold on. My other notes, Stan's mind is creepy, and it really is.
Okay.
Seuss boring tease. There's like a short part where Grunkle Stan is like going behind the like cola machine to his little secret place that they teased in like the very first episode or whenever.
Okay.
And Seuss is just kind of watching it, and he's like, boring, and he just closes the door before you can see what's going to happen. So I thought that was great. It's a little tease just to like piss you off.
Yeah.
Xyler and Kraz are lol, because, you know, they made me laugh.
Yeah.
Mostly just the random things they say. Like, arm thrown! Stan is actually really good, which we already covered. Bill Cipher's pretty cool, and that cliffhanger, though. That's what I put down, which is the, we already went over the cliffhanger. So, cryptograms. Let's see. In one shot of the hallways in the Mindscape Mystery Shack in the production art, Utug Aqua Octnap is carved into a wall. Decoding it, using 2 letters back translates to curse you, Marilyn. However, in the actual episode, the message is edited out, so I'm wondering what's up with that. I don't know that until I just read it. What the fuck's up with Marilyn?
Yeah, really.
Who is that? It might be the chick that left him in his past for music.
Could be.
During the end credits of the episode, the cryptogram reads, whatever. Once decoded, it reads, to be continued. The original cryptogram was supposed to be, next week, Xyler and Kraz's bought excellent rad venture.
Yeah.
And then in yellow behind Bill Cipher's name is a message that reads, bunch of random symbols. Not even letters or numbers, just symbols, which there's like a triangle and a backwards 3 and like a mushroom and just weird things.
Yeah.
Once decoded, it reads, liar, monster, snappy dresser. Liar, monster, snappy dresser. So what the fuck is that all about? I don't know. But trivia? Got any trivia? There is one specifically right here that I think was great. I remember listening to it, and I was like, oh, I know this. It's just Latin phrases. When
Always.
Dipper is, like, chanting to get them into Stan's mind, he says, Fidentis omnium, magister mentium, magnesium ad hominem, magnum opus, habeas corpus, inceptus nullinus overatus. Inceptus nullinus overatus.
Yeah.
Inception of Nolan is overrated. That's great. I didn't realize that. Magister mentium, magister mentium, magister mentium. These are all together. They don't really mean anything. It's kind of nonsensical. But the individual phrases. Fidentis omnium is confidence of all. Magister mentium is master of minds. Magnesium ad hominem is magnesium to man, which an ad hominem is a logical fallacy where you attack a person's character or whatever. Magnum opus is great work of art, music, etc. Habeas corpus is may you have the body, which is a legal term, requirement that a person under arrest be brought before a judge or into a court so that the evidence against them can be weighed. And then the inceptus thing, and then magister mentium again, which is master of minds.
Okay.
But I did not even know the inceptus nullinus joke. That was great.
So, one trivia that I think is very cool. Bill refers to Dipper, Mabel, and Seuss as the pine tree, the shooting star, and the question mark, which are symbols surrounding his image on his page in Journal 2.
Yeah, I do remember that. Nice little, more mysteries. Nice little, what the fuck's going on there?
Exactly.
Who are all the other symbols?
I know. Now that you know this, it's like, I gotta know.
I gotta watch more.
A little bit. Little bit.
The number 618 appears multiple times, as it usually does.
Yep.
Oh,
So
in Stan's Mindscape, the moon looks like his magic 8-ball cane.
Yep.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
In the memory of Stan as a child and getting bullied in the playground, just before he is hit in the face with a soccer ball, a sports team named Jersey Vultures is seen behind him.
Nice.
Okay, I wonder if that's going to play a role, probably.
Let's see. Anything else particularly interesting in this trivia?
Not that I'm seeing.
Before the fish kitchen fight, whatever. None of that. So yeah, that one was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool episode filled with a lot of little mystery, and Bill Cipher is definitely the main awesome of the episode. Especially when he's summoned, and just how weird he is.
I wish it would have gone a little bit differently. Like, what happens in the last episode would have happened first, and then Bill Cipher would have come second. I think he would have been a great final, image to see before...
He's summoned, and then it does that tease with Stan at the very end.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been pretty cool. That actually would have been awesome, because that would have gotten pretty much anybody watching to just be like, okay, well, fuck, I guess I gotta watch Season 2 now.
But I guess they did it anyway, because the way Season 2 ends is,
yeah.
or Season 1 ends is very enticing without Bill Cipher.
Yep, it is very enticing. That huge reveal at the end. Holy crap.
Yes.
Oh, there's totally something I forgot from Land Before Swine. I have a huge thing written on the side of my notes. It says, Bros Before Dinos. It's just one of the things Seuss says.
Yeah, Bros Before Dinos.
But, yeah, I think we're good with that episode. Oh, how would you rate it? I rate it about a 9 out of 10. It's definitely some of the best the show has, been able to offer so far, for me at least.
Yeah, I think it's a good 8, 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
As a semi-finale, though, like I said, I wish they would have switched him, because I think Bill Cipher would have been better as a finale, but I shouldn't review this for what I want it to be. I should talk about it as it is.
Yeah, exactly, as it is.
But I think we're finally able to move on to the finale.
Which was awesome.
Episode, what is this, 20?
Episode 20.
Gideon Rises. Which I wonder if that is like a play on something else, or is it just Gideon Rises?
The Dark Knight Rises, maybe? I mean, I don't know.
Alright.
So, the official overview for this one's actually longer than one sentence. So, after Gideon gleeful swindles the Mystery Shack away from Stan, everything in Gravity Falls appears to be even more west of weird. Dipper, Mabel, and Grunkle Stan are forced to move in with Seuss and his grandmother, while the town remains enamored with Gideon's charm. Meanwhile, Grunkle Stan isn't certain he can take care of the twins and is considering sending them back home. With their summer in Gravity Falls threatening to come to an end, Mabel and Dipper decide to take on Gideon and win back their home.
Right, because right after, the kind of cliffhanger in the last episode is that he took the will and he kicked him out, and so the episode starts with them waking up at Seuss's grandma's house.
Well, you don't even know that yet. Dipper just wakes up and he's like, I had this crazy dream. It's like, that was no dream, dude. Seuss wakes up in bed next to him. That was no dream, dude. And they're all in his abuela's house.
What do you think of the grandma?
I thought she was funny. She's very, simple and typical.
Deadpan. I was gonna say she's very deadpan because she makes a joke to Seuss, Seuss is like, I'm gonna go to heaven where Grandpa is, right, Grandma? No, or something like.
No. There's the part where Mabel has the grappling hook. She shoots it, and it explodes a jar of jelly all over the wall. She's like,
yeah,
I vacuum wall now.
And then Stan kisses her later, and she's like, I wash face now.
So she says vacuum. I vacuum face now.
Yeah. So
that's all she is. She's just kind of like that. Doesn't really do anything.
I'll say this: she does play a bigger. Well, you get more of her in the next season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but so now they're kind of dealing with the fact that Gideon has taken it. And now you finally learn why he's wanted the Mystery Shack for so long, because he knew he has, I think, the second book.
Yeah, he's book number 2.
And so he knew that there was at least one other book out there. We, the audience, already know that there are actually 3 books in total.
Yeah.
Or at least 3.
Yeah, at least 3.
That.
Yeah.
But
there's
Gideon doesn't know
48 books. What? Holy shit. They
Yeah,
travel
really, holy
around the
crap.
world. It's like the sequel of the show. That actually is pretty interesting.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it?
It would be cool. They travel around the world to like ruins and find a book there, and then fucking like this and that in the desert, and but anyway,
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, he goes there, and in his book, he thinks that there's a page for like hiding spots, and the Mystery Shack is one of them. So he thinks, oh, the other book has to be here.
Yeah.
And so he tries to find it, and he can't find it, and then kind of a throwback to like one of the very earlier episodes. Dipper and Mabel go down to the gnomes to try to get their help.
Yep.
And you get a return of Schmebulok.
Yep. And there's a great joke, yeah. Schmebulok. Is that all you can say? Schmebulok.
There's actually, right before that is a joke where the leader of the gnomes is like bathing in
gnome
squirrels.
squirrel bath.
Yeah, and he's like, this is totally normal for gnomes.
Yeah. They're all in the tub around him, and it's just like...
And they're just moving around, too. Yeah, they're not, like, just sitting there. They're moving.
Yeah. This is totally normal for gnomes.
Exactly.
Oh, and he's like, Schmebulok, give me my cologne. And the cologne on it says gnome, but it's N-O umlaut M. It's just kind of funny. Gnome.
But, so... They get the gnomes to help, but it turns out that gnomes are like kind of a little bit like dogs. They can't stand the sound of a dog whistle.
Yeah.
So they Gideon convinces them to take the pines away, and they do. But then he finds Dipper's book drops, and he's like, "Oh, you had the book. You know, this is how you've always been able to kind of match me, is because you have the book."
Yep.
And he says, "You're nothing without this book, so now you're worthless."
Yeah, he says, you're not strong, or you don't have strength. No, he says something like, you don't have muscles, you don't have brains, you're nothing, you're worthless.
Which is bullcrap, because as we saw in the time-traveling episode, he's a freaking genius.
Seriously.
But, moving past that nonsense, so they're kind of down, and Grunkle Stan's like, you know what, I can't take care of you guys, we're going to send you home. And they're like, but we don't want to go home. And it's like, yeah, I know, but...
I got your bus tickets.
Yeah, hey, get out of my face.
Oh, and meanwhile, Gideon's using the area to build Gideon Land.
Yeah, and they're building...
McGucket is building a giant robot.
Which, if you know anything about McGucket, he's been known for building giant robots and terrorizing towns, so... Later on, Gideon's like, is it ready? We'll find out. Or only one way to find out.
It's pretty good.
Like McGucket would do. And then...
and meanwhile, also, Seuss keeps getting jobs all over, because he needs...
Yeah, but that's like a side joke. That's not really any...
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
I was just saying, it's kind of... He's at the diner cooking, and he's a bus driver later, and...
Yep. So, they get on the bus because they're leaving, but then Gideon realizes... that the book he has is 2 and 3, so he knows that there's one missing. So he goes after,
Dipper
he
must
gets
have it.
Yeah, he's like, oh, Dipper must have it, or at least know where it is. So he gets in his robot and chases them down. And there's this kind of cool chase scene with the robot and Seuss being the bus driver. And,
he's like, hold on, I've been a bus driver for 40 minutes.
Yeah, would you guys say this is more like a disgruntled old person or a squirrel in the engine? When the robot tears the freaking...
the roof off or whatever.
Yeah. Seuss is funny, I gotta say.
He really is. I love him.
Yeah.
As a character.
Like, in the beginning I thought I wasn't gonna like him, but he really kind of grew on me.
He's so fun.
Yeah, and so the robot falls, and you find out... Actually, we probably should have said this towards the beginning. So there's a commercial that Gideon has where he's like, if you... Well, no, I don't think it's commercial. It's just him talking to the audience. Like, if you've got your Gideon button...
Yeah, he gives everybody a little Gideon button.
Yeah, and then he's like, how does he know? Like, what? Like, he knows all these secrets about all these...
He knew the secret ingredient to my coffee omelets.
Yeah, it's coffee.
Yeah.
But then it turns out that because Stan keeps getting these loud, like, ringings in his ear because of his
hearing aid.
Hearing aid, yeah, and he doesn't know why, and then he realizes, oh, it's because these are cameras.
Yeah, this pin.
Or it's either a camera, yeah, it's a camera, because he's got a bunch of cameras in the suit. And, They kind of haul him away. Yeah, they haul him away because it's so funny because the guy that says, "Get him!" Tyler, he's like...
What are you going to do with me? Tyler. Get him. It's like all sad.
And then he's like, "You guys are sheep. You need me now." And he takes the book. Well, Dipper takes the books back, and so now he has all 3.
Well, actually, you only see Dipper take one of them.
Really?
He takes 3 back.
Oh.
Yeah. And Stan gets the deed back. But I'm pretty sure he only takes 1. I only remember him taking the 3rd one. I just watched it, so unless I just didn't notice the 2nd book.
Well, you didn't notice Cora blushing, so...
The first time, yeah, but I noticed it the 2nd time.
Did you notice it but without me saying it? Or did you
I noticed it.
Okay.
But, another thing is, they're on this giant, like, railroad. It's like a train track. There's like a mine on both ends, and it goes over this huge cliff, and they're fighting on it. Dipper gets, knocked away, and he's bleeding, and then he jumps on the back, and he fights Gideon inside the robot, and then it falls and blows up and all that shit. Then they get to this part. And
then they finally got to... Mabel's always like, this grappling hook is going to come in handy.
Yeah. And it saves him.
And it saves him, but she hasn't used... This is the first time in the whole series that she used it.
For anything, yeah.
For really anything. And
for anything useful.
Yeah. Actually, another important part that they say earlier is Gideon kind of describes the book to his father a little bit about how there was this brilliant man, and he knew so many secrets that, I don't know, he decided to write them down. And
if you have all of 3 books, then you've got, like, unlimited power or something like that.
Yeah. Which I think Dipper has, but if you say...
No, he didn't have it. I just watched it.
Okay, well, then I guess he only has the 1 book then.
Yeah. And then once all that ends, the very end, they're, like, back in their... back in the attic, and they're all happy, and they play with Seuss, and Stan takes the book, and he's like, "Oh, look at this. This is where you've been getting all this nonsense. Conspiracy theories," and he's just laughing, searching through the book, and he's like, "There's some good ideas in here." They talk about it earlier, but he opens to the page. It's a squash that has a face of a human and human emotions.
Yeah.
Like, there's some good attractions in here. And then he takes the book, and he laughs, and he walks away. Then Seuss pops out and shoots him with water, and they're like, yeah, and they're fun. And then it goes to nighttime, and Grunkle Stan goes back into behind the cola machine, and he goes over to this thing, and he, like, types in this code, and the code, it's not numbers, it's these weird symbols again. And then he goes down this elevator into this room with all these machines, and he comes over to this, like, desk, and he opens this little thing, and he pulls out all 3 books and puts them there, and you're like, oh, fuck! This is, like, a huge, like, thing. It's a huge cliffhanger, and then he opens them all, and he's like, finally, I've got them, or something like that. And he opens them all to this crazy page, and he puts the books together and makes this big circle, and he's punching these things into this machine, and there's a big circle in front of him, and there's like it's like a upside-down triangle with a circle in it. Kind of like the Deathly Hallows symbol, if you remember that from Harry Potter.
Vaguely.
And he punches these things in, and there's all these things light up, and electricity goes everywhere, and then he just says, "Here we go," and then the screen fucking goes black or whatever.
See, that's what I was actually trying to remember. Stan takes one of the journals secretly when Gideon falls. And then Dipper takes the other one. That's how Stan has all 3.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. I guess I should have said, but you don't actually see Stan take the book. He just kind of took it in secret.
Yeah, so they kind of a big cliffhanger because you're like, whoa, what's going on with Stan, you know?
Granted, I don't know what happens next, so I'm still, like, amped up.
Exactly. I've having seen what I imagine is half of the next season. I know a little bit, but I'm not going to ruin nothing for you. It's kind of a big, cool thing.
Okay. Yeah, do not ruin that shit for me, or I'll find you.
Or I will find you. So, moving on to trivia?
Well, hold on. We got our notes. My notes here, Mabel's being creepy at the beginning. There's the return of the hook. So that's kind of cool. Little thing there. When they're dressed up in disguises to go to, like, little Gideon's little grand thing, closing, or whatever. It's kind of funny. I just liked the disguises. They all got these, like Seuss has a beard, and Mabel's got a mustache. She's like, I love this mustache. And Seuss's hat says, not Seuss. He's like, if anybody asks, I'm not Seuss. It's kind of funny.
Nice.
Oh, there's a line when Wendy is like, well, if I don't have a job, then my dad's going to send me up north to work at my uncle's lumber mill or, something like that. And Dipper's like, oh, you're going to leave. You can't leave. And, they say something or whatever. And then Susan's like, yeah, it's because you got a huge crush. Dipper's got a huge crush on you. Eucalyptus trees. Saved it. Something like that. Oh, it was a great joke. I literally laughed out loud at that joke.
Eucalyptus trees. Eucalyptus. Did you bring my favorite thing? I brought your favorite thing. A koala?
No, what's in the box?
What was
your favorite thing? A koala's in that box? Yeah.
Yeah. Eucalyptus. Eucalyptus. I don't like koalas anymore.
Beautiful. Another note here. Gideon's addicted to pigs. There's a part where Waddles is like running around the house or something. He's like, you get back in the corner. Blows the whistle. It's kind of addicted to pigs.
Yep.
Oh, Dipper actually opens up to the page where it's like, this looks like it's part of some kind of super weapon. But as he's saying that, he's like, super weapon, and then Mabel's just like, boring. They do the like boring thing again where you're like, oh, I want to know what's going on with this. It's like a little tease. The gnome squirrel bath we already went over. The cologne and Schmebulok.
Yep.
The gnome army, when they show up, they're like using each other as arrows out of bows. And they like brandish their little like red hats as blades. So that was great. Gideon, you see him getting more and more crazy as the episode goes. Kind of like Azula. He's just kind of descending into madness as he goes.
Yep.
Which is great. This one also got a big laugh out of me. When he gets in the robot, he puts on a mocap suit, a motion capture suit, with all the black suit with all the like white dots.
Yeah.
And that's how he controls it. That was funny. When Dipper, he's like, oh man, I can't do anything, and he runs away, and then he runs and jumps off the cliff, and he does this huge heroic leap, like 50 fucking yards through the air, and lands on the back of the robot, and like crashes through the window and everything. It's like, damn, Dipper, you're a little bit stronger than we think. He's kind of a beast.
He's kind of a burst.
And then this was a great touch. It makes perfect sense, but it's still nice to see them actually do this. When he's fighting Gideon inside the robot, it shows the robot just like fighting nothing, because obviously Gideon's fighting, and so it's just like punching wildly and it's getting hit and stuff like that.
Nice.
Made me laugh. The grappling hook saves them. Then my last two here are Stan journal reveal, which is when he's got the journals. That's the first little like, oh shit. And then the Stan huge cliffhanger. That's where it really gets you. Gets you. So, those are all my notes for the episode. You got anything you want to add to that?
As a cliffhanger, I thought it was really good. It was very action-packed for this show, and Gideon is a pretty good villain. He's only better than Bill Cipher in that we know him, and he's kind of fun. I like him humor-wise more than Bill Cipher.
Yeah, I love his.
But
I'm Bill Gideon. Oh, Stafford. Just like how he is. It is his whole, the way he acts and everything. He's just funny.
In the last episode, I forgot to say this, but he's like, it seems we're in a game of cat and mouse, but the question is, who's the cat and who's the man? And then Stafford just takes a broom and sweeps him out, like, get out of here.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah. Just like makes noises like that because he's funny. You mock my words, Stanford. Just like the way Gideon is. He's just so fucking funny.
Yep. But, that's my notes.
All right, let's go down here. Cryptograms. The page for the squash with a human face and emotions in 3 contains a cryptogram that reads a bunch of symbols. When decoded, it reads, don't eat him. Okay.
Nice.
Right after Dipper, Mabel, and Seuss run out of the room, a bunch of letters is seen carved into a pipe under the floorboards. Once decoded, it says Bill is watching.
Ooh,
that's a little weird. The left-hand corner of 3's page says a whole bunch of symbols. It's like almost a paragraph of just symbols.
Yeah, really.
Decoded, it says, the portal, when completed, will open a gateway to infinite new worlds and herald a new era in mankind's understanding of the universe. Plus, it will probably get girls to start talking to me finally. So what the fuck is that all about?
Yeah, really?
A portal, a gateway to infinite new worlds? Holy shit. And a herald, a new era in mankind's understanding of the universe. Dude, that just kind of blew my mind. I want to watch season 2 now. Like, I really do.
Exactly, just for that.
Also, during the end credits of the pages, the possible hiding places page reads, bunch of numbers. Once decoded, it reads, reverse the ciphers. Oh. I wonder what that means. And then during the end credits of this episode, there's a cryptogram that reads, bunch of numbers. Once decoded, it reads, search for the blind eye. Which, now that I know there's an episode called The Order of the Blind Eye or whatever.
Yeah, the Society of the Blind
Society,
Eye.
yeah, it's definitely got to do with that.
Yep.
Damn, holy crap, this show just gets me. I love all the little mysteries. And I really do like that the last few episodes, they put a lot of these little, like, codes in. Like, way more than usual. Usually it's just one cipher at the end.
Yeah, because it's the big finale.
At the end. Yeah. Damn, and I imagine if you actually decoded them as the show came out, decoding this episode after seeing it would just make you shit your pants.
Yeah, because you're like, word for word, like, what? The portal, when completed, will open what? Open what?
Yeah, open what? A gateway? Okay, a gateway to infinite new worlds and herald a new one. It's like, hype as you go.
More and more high pitch.
Till eventually you can only be heard by dogs.
Dogs are just freaking out around you like, what is it? Yeah, I'm trying to look at the trivia here.
The trivia. There's actually not a lot of trivia.
There really isn't, which is surprising.
Oh, wow. On one of Gideon's surveillance monitors, Pacifica Northwest is seen throwing darts at a picture of Mabel. What a bitch! It's the first episode to actually show blood, which we talked about a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
It was a nosebleed.
Dipper's cliff jumping skill, which was taught to him in Dipper vs. Manliness, is used in the battle against the Gideon bot.
Wait, what? Say that again?
Okay, Dipper's cliff jumping skill, which he was taught in Dipper vs. Manliness, was used against the Gideon bot.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's part of serious continuity, not trivia. That's so true, because, I remember Dipper vs. Manliness. He kind of got pretty badass.
Kinda, and then just kind of petered out.
This one's a little interesting, because I remember him saying this, and I was like, this is just because they don't want him to actually be drinking alcohol, right? But when he goes to the diner, he asks for the most expired apple cider they've got. And I guess as apple juice expires, its alcohol level rises. So Stan is implying that he wants a glass of alcohol to drown his worries. So,
okay.
It's nice, a little clever way to do that. Because the moment he said it, I was like, yeah, he wants to get drunk. But I didn't realize that apple cider is actually gets alcoholic as it expires.
Yep.
So that's cool.
I did not know that.
That's cool.
The cash register at the end still reads 618.
Okay, yeah, of course. 618 is their thing. I want to know what's up with that.
I know.
Oh, here's one. Mabel has a favorite moldy spot in her room that she nicknamed Daryl.
Oh.
And it actually drips green nastiness. So it's a very juicy bit of mold.
Okay. Okay.
So I think we'll go with that episode. What did you think of it? Did we already go over that? Our rating for it?
No, we haven't gone over the rating for it. I give it as a series finale, 9 out of 10, because I really wanted to see, like, as soon as I was done with it, I went on to the second season.
Oh.
I had to see what was going to happen next.
Well, from where... You go, sorry.
I was going to say, and I'm glad I did, because as I said before, second season so far is just better than the first.
Oh, you're hyping me up. For me, as far as season 1 goes, not having seen season 2, it is definitely 10 out of 10. It's probably the best episode in the season overall, even though I like Fight Fighters more, but that's mostly because it hits close to home with me as a gamer and all that. But this one's definitely the most enticing episode. There's a lot going on that's just kind of like fun, and there's action, and it's funny and all that, and then there's the fucking mysteries at the end, That I think as far as the episode goes, I'd probably rate it like a 7. until the ending. And then all the mystery and the cliffhanger is what really jumps it up for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I did quite enjoy it.
So now that we're done with the series, what do you think?
With the season.
What of the season? I was gonna say series of the season. What do you think were the pros? Like, what were the best parts of the season that you liked? You know, what kept you coming back, and what do you think they could have done better? And hopefully they do better in the second season.
Well, definitely top of the list things that bring me to it, that interest me and bring me back, is all the mystery. It presents itself in such a way that I just gotta know what's gonna happen next. I love that.
Okay.
But other things, I really love the characters. Like, Dipper, he just is so plain in a lot of ways, but I don't care because he's just interesting to me. I just like Dipper. I like Mabel. She's fun. I really like Seuss because he's just funny. Stan is just great. Like, I like the characters, and I really like the animation because it's pretty tight. It's pretty well drawn, and there's quite a bit of detail. Really like the mystery, and I guess I really like the effort they put into it because it seems like there's a huge thing going on that we just have no idea about, but it's like they know about it. They knew it from the start. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I like all the little details and things, the little hints and whatnot that are hidden here and there, and the little homages to episodes that have already happened and things. One thing I really enjoy is that if something happens in the show some point, most likely it's going to get referenced at one point later. Like the clown painting. I never expected to see that again, but the clown painting. I don't know if you remember, but Stan takes the clown painting from Gideon's dad, and then far later in the season, Gideon's dad takes the clown painting back. Like, it's just those little touches, those little details that just makes it very interesting to me. Because it feels like the show is not done half-assed.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's like Avatar for me. They put in the effort for it, and it really shows, and I like that. I can appreciate that, because there's a lot of detail to it. So.
Okay.
So what about you? What do you like about it?
Well, I like the characters. It kind of drew me in a little bit, and I don't know what to say. It just every character was unique enough, and I just kind of, to be honest, I really only started watching it because we were doing it for the show.
Yeah, but then
like I said, I'm glad that I got through the first season. First season, there were some good moments, but as a whole, it was just kind of meh until we got to the very last episode, and then the second season has been
just great.
Like,
dude, you're hyping it up so much.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to, but I just cannot
I'm so
wait.
excited now.
I think the episodes are just better. They make me laugh more.
Okay.
I think there's more.
That's another thing. I really like the humor of the show.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things that can appeal to me as an adult.
Yes.
And there are a lot of just simple little jokes that are kind of throwaway, but they're so funny. You know?
Yeah.
Like just little things, like the random commercials, or like when they're watching TV. Like, it's so simple. They're watching two guys fighting each other, and Stan's just like, fight, fight, fight. And then they're like deer hitting each other, and he's like, fight, fight, fight. And then it's two babies. It's like, fight, fight, fight. We'll be back to baby fights. They know what I like. Or something. It's such a simple little joke, but it's so funny to me. The eucalyptus trees joke. It's just funny. I don't know. The multi-bear. Like, what the fuck? Like, and the show is so odd. And, I mean, you know me, I'm kind of an oddball. I like that.
Yep.
Let's get weird.
Let's get weird.
This is also a favorite show of mine, Workaholics.
Yep. You know, this show reminds me of a lot of, like, Courage the Cowardly Dog, which also had, like, a darker tone to it.
Kind of
but
strangeness.
Yeah, but let's be fair. Courage was a lot scarier.
Oh, yeah. Well, scarier.
No, it was creepy.
But yeah, definitely creepier.
Courage
was a lot darker.
You know what's surprising, too, because it was still very slapstick?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this show doesn't have any real slapstick because they still kind of treat things like you can bleed and you can get hurt, like get bruises. But
even though it's a fantastical world, it's like a fantastical real world.
Exactly, but in Courage, it's clearly very fantastical.
Yeah.
And
Like Mr. Katz, so fucking...
Mr. Katz, Toon Physics, or Toon Force is still a thing.
Yeah.
Because Courage will get that crappy now, but some of the creepy imagery they show you, like beware the beware the slab, or suffer my curse. If you want to see a kid show that is super creepy, Courage.
Yeah. Oh, I remember there was an episode. I don't remember anything about it, but there's a part where he like goes upstairs and there's this like creepy girl or something. That was really fucking weird and creepy.
Oh yeah, it was like a claymation and she's playing the violin and then she like stops and turns and like like whoa.
Yeah, that show is definitely a lot darker than this one.
Yeah.
But I will say, I watched Courage as a kid. I haven't watched it again as an adult. But with my memories of Courage, I definitely like Gravity Falls more.
Yeah.
But, maybe at some point we ought to go back and do some Courage.
Maybe. Do a little throwback hour.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to say, if somebody asked me what do you think Gravity Falls is, like how would you best describe it? I would say it's a mix between Courage the Cowardly Dog and Martin Mystery.
I don't know what that is.
Martin Mystery was this show about this teenager, his stepsister, and this Neanderthal that was reanimated, and they go off fighting.
Oh, wow. Okay. I just Googled it, and the image, I have no idea what that is. I figured I would, maybe recognize it just from the art in some way. Yeah, never seen it. No idea.
They go off, and there's this, organization that not fights, but stops, quote-unquote monsters. They're called cryptids.
Okay.
Like the Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot, all those kinds of creatures.
Yeah.
From running amok.
Yeah.
And that reminds me of this because they kind of do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And encouraged because of how creepy it is. Because Martin Mystery was never creepy; it was more of an adventure thing.
Yeah.
But Encouraged is not really an adventure so much as it's just kind of
creepy,
super creepy. So
it's kind of like a Tales of the Crypt or whatever in a way. Courage. It's just kind of like these weird, creepy stories of stuff that happens.
It's like what Goosebumps wanted to be.
Kinda, yeah.
I
will say this about the Martin Mystery: the art reminds me of Totally Spies.
Made by the same people.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, Totally Spies, from what I remember, it wasn't that bad, so I wonder if this show is pretty good. Oh, it says Canadian television series.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was from Canada.
Yeah, so it's Totally Spies, I'm pretty sure.
Damn, I did not know that.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
So, that's it. That's our... This is kind of a big thing for us, because this is the first...
series
that we started on SitEcast that we actually finished. Granted, we did do a side of Avatar. It was one of our very first that Justin and I did.
I think it was the first.
Oh, okay, so it was our first. Yeah, and we did not do Avatar justice.
We didn't. We'll definitely redo that one.
Yeah, especially because it's Avatar and we loved Avatar.
And we did finally finish Legend of Korra.
Finally, and so we've been talking. We've got ideas for what we're gonna work on next. We've been throwing around different shows. We are going to continue Gravity Falls.
Yeah, season 2.
But I think we said we were gonna wait until after it finishes.
Well, we don't have to now that there's enough. There's 11 episodes out of 20 something. We could do 1 through 5 or 1 through 6, and then we can do another one that's 6 or 7 through 11.
Oh, okay.
We just won't be able to finish it until the season actually finishes, of course.
Okay. So, yeah, we might continue Gravity Falls. We might move on to something else. We still have our other projects.
Oh, and the shorts. We'll do the shorts.
Yeah, but the shorts are just going to be tagged on to the...
It'll be the beginning. We'll start with the shorts and then go into, episodes 1, 2, 3 or whatever of season 2.
Yeah, because the shorts combined are probably the length of one episode.
Yeah, there's 17 of them.
Holy crap.
Yeah, they're 2 minutes apiece, so...
Yeah, so about an episode. Maybe slightly more than that, but... But, yeah, and we still have other projects to work on. But, yeah, this is our first... Well, I guess it's not the first series we've completed, but we did complete a season.
Yeah, we did.
Which is, again, our first milestone. But I think the first series we're going to complete is Jurassic Park.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Because that's just...
Jump into... Actually, we only have the prologue and first iteration up. You got to finish editing the second and third iteration.
I know, but it was super long.
Yeah, it really was.
It took us like 2 hours to get through it. But
and then the next one will be only iteration 4, because I'm pretty sure that one's even longer.
Exactly. So, I guess thank you for joining us on our final episode of Season 1. And we will see you next time.
Hell yeah.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Love you. Oh, wait. Hold on. Subscribe. Whoa. Like, subscribe. Comment.
Oh, yes.
Fucking comment. Do it.
Yeah. Yeah, really. We really, really want you to comment.
Yeah, and we do want you to subscribe. If you like hearing us talk about this kind of stuff, go ahead and subscribe, and then you're welcome to recommend stuff.
Yes,
we'll check them out.
Yeah.
So,
bada bing. Now we're late.
Okay, now we're.